Okay, hi, this is Catherine Robinson. This is Communications 111, informative speech on memory. Do you remember the time you're at the ATM machine and you forgot your PIN number? Or that time you were studying for a really big test the night before and you went to take the test and you forgot all the information you studied about? Well, today I'm going to tell you about memory, how we forget, and how to remember. Let's begin by understanding memory. The definition of memory found in the book entitled Psychology, Concepts, and Applications written by Jeffrey Nevada is a system in which we retain information and bring it to mind. Human memory has three basic processes: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is taking in information, storage is retaining information in memory, and retrieval is accessing stored information. Within these three processes, there are three main stages: sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. Sensory memory is sensory impression lasts from a fraction of a second to several seconds. Information lasts up to 30 seconds unless actively rehearsed. And long-term memory is information may last indefinitely. According to the New Book of Knowledge, the brain is in constant state of change. The hippocampus, this green part, is the part of the brain where short-term memory is transferred to long-term memory. Damage to the hippocampus can cause an inability to form new memories. Now that we know what memory is and all the processes and stages involved, let's discuss how we forget things in the first place. How do we forget things? As stated in the textbook entitled Exceptional Students Preparing Teachers for the 21st Century, written by Taylor, Smiley, and Richards, there is evidence suggesting that memory problems are related to difficulty or failure to use strategies that facilitate remembering, and that teaching of strategies can help an individual remember and learn new information. Working memory is the strategy in which we use to help us learn new information. So an individual's ability to hold information for usage of short periods of time. So working memory is used when strategies are practiced. Working memory is affected and therefore we remember. But when strategies are not practiced, working memory is not effective and therefore we forget. Jeffrey Nevada, who wrote Psychology, Concepts, and Applications, states that there are several theories that help us remember how we may forget things. Those theories are decay theory, repression, retrieval theory, and interference theory. Decay theory: gradual fading of memory traces as a function of time. So, for example, that's when you learn something in school and then you forget it over time. Interference theory is the disruption of memory caused by interference of previously learned material or newly learned material. So interference theory is when you are in math class first period and then you go to social studies second period and then you forget everything you learned in math first period because you learned so much new information. Retrieval theory is when there is failure to access material stored in memory because of encoding failure or lack of retrieval cues. So retrieval theory is when you have trouble remembering something like your phone number or your address. Repression is motivated forgetting of anxiety-provoking material. So that is when an individual cannot remember a traumatic childhood experience, such as their mother getting in a car accident, and then they repress that memory because they do not want to remember it. So now that we better understand how we forget things, let's work on improving our memory. What are some memory strategies so I can avoid forgetting everything? Memory strategies deliberate mental activities that improve our chances of remembering. We remember through rehearsal, organization, and elaboration. According to Laura E. Burke, the author of the book Infants, Children, and Adolescents, she believes that there are some strategies that we learn in our early years of school that help our memory. There's rehearsal, repeating information you want to remember, organization, grouping related items, and elaboration, creating a relationship between two or more pieces of information that are not members of the same category. Recall memory is a major part of memory. There's recognition and recall. Recognition is stimuli similar to one previously experienced, and recall remembering something with perceptual support. Memory strategies deliberate mental activities that improve our chances of remembering. For example, there's acronyms such as Be Right Back, LOL, Laugh Out Loud, Roy G. Biv to help us remember the rainbows. The colors of the rainbows. There's popular sayings and rhymes such as the early bird gets the worm. And there's visual cues such like as a picture of an apple helps us to remember that that's an apple. Chunking is a major part of memory. According to the New Book of Knowledge, chunking can be achieved by starting small. So you start small with a bit of information, so let's say 20 spelling words, and then you chunk the information into small chunks and study the small chunks over time. As you learn those small chunks and you add new chunks on to previously learned material. There's also paying attention, sitting upright, having eye contact, mentally rehearsing what you intend to do, and practice, practice, practice. But there's also controlling your stress and having healthy habits. Today I've informed you about memory, different types, stages, how we forget, and how we remember. I hope you have learned everything you need to know about your personal memory, how you forget things, and how to make your memory better. Memory is something that seems to fade as we get older, and that does not have to be the case. As you know, our ability to recall information is through the proper use of our working memory. Once we are able to use the proper strategies to recall and retain information over memory, our memory will hopefully improve.